I am BTK. Yeah. I'm the guy they're after, 100%. Fantasies are what got me in trouble. I just went from one fantasy to bigger and bigger and bigger, and pretty soon I was involved in murder, and then that fueled the next one, and it just went on and on. I put a garnet over his neck and pulled up on it. That's when I guess Factor X, whatever, the monster took over totally then. Mrs. Lotero had woke up, and she actually said, have God have mercy on your soul. That's what she said. And put her down permanently.
Some monsters hide in the shadows, content to stalk our nightmares from a distance. Others, however, walk among us, their true nature concealed behind a veneer of normalcy. Welcome back to the Dark Chapter. In this video, we will look at Dennis Rader, one of these monsters. For over 3 decades, he cast a long shadow over Wichita, Kansas, leaving behind a trail of unimaginable pain and terror. He was a family man, a church leader, a pillar of the community, but beneath the surface, a darkness festered. This was the man known as BTK, bind, torture, kill. The BTK Killer became a chilling enigma, a specter haunting the lives of Wichita's citizens. He sent taunting letters to the media, boasting of his crimes in meticulous detail, relishing the fear that gripped the city. Dennis Rader was a master of deception. His carefully constructed double life was a testament to his evil and cunning nature. Dennis Lynn Rader entered the world on March 9, 1945 in Pittsburgh, Kansas, the eldest of 4 sons to William and Dorothea Rader. His early life was marked by a stark contrast between the seemingly tranquil exterior of his middle-class upbringing and the turbulent undercurrents of his home life. The Raders lived in a modest home, and on the surface they appeared to be a typical American family. However, the dynamics within their household were far from harmonious. Growing up in Wichita, Rader later recalled feeling ignored by his mother. Both of his parents worked long hours and paid little attention to their children at home. Rader's father, a stern and authoritative figure, worked long hours as a lineman for the electric utility company. His demanding job often kept him away from home, leaving young Dennis to seek attention and approval that was rarely forthcoming. William Rader's absence and stoic demeanor created a chasm of emotional distance between father and son. This lack of paternal affection instilled in Dennis a profound sense of inadequacy and invisibility. Dorothea Rader, on the other hand, was a disciplinarian who maintained a strict household. Her approach to parenting was equally devoid of warmth and nurturing. This environment of emotional neglect and strict discipline shaped Dennis Rader's troubled childhood. During his childhood, Dennis Rader demonstrated behaviors that hinted at the darkness lurking within him. He was an unremarkable student, often blending into the background of his school environment. However, those who took the time to observe him closely noted an eerie intensity in his eyes, a silent brooding that set him apart from his peers. He was quiet, introverted, and prone to episodes of daydreaming. Rader's fascination with control and domination began to emerge during these years. He found a peculiar interest in tying knots and creating intricate bindings, a hobby that would later become a chilling hallmark of his crimes. Additionally, he exhibited early signs of sadism, deriving pleasure from the suffering of small animals. These acts of cruelty were not mere childhood mischief, but a harbinger of the violent impulses that would later consume him. Despite these troubling signs, Dennis managed to maintain an outward veneer of normalcy. He participated in Boy Scouts, where his interest in knots was viewed as a useful skill rather than a sinister obsession. His family saw him as a normal, albeit quiet child, unaware of the darkness growing within. Rader's teenage years were marked by detachment from reality, seeking refuge in dark fantasies. He harbored sadistic sexual fantasies about torturing trapped and helpless women. Rader acted out sexual fetishes for voyeurism, autoerotic asphyxiation, and cross-dressing, often spying on female neighbors. These fantasies fed his growing appetite for power and dominance. He kept these thoughts hidden, perfecting the art of living a double life. After graduating from Wichita Heights High School, Rader attended Kansas Wesleyan University. He received only mediocre grades and dropped out after 1 year. He served in the United States Air Force from 1966 to 1970. On discharge, he moved to Park City, a suburb of Wichita, where he worked in the meat department of an IGA supermarket. Rader married Paula Dietz on May 22, 1971. They had 2 children, Kerry and Brian. Dennis Rader began his murder spree on January 15, 1974. The biting Kansas wind cut right through to the bone on that frigid January morning. The sky was a canvas of muted grays, mirroring the unease over Wichita. For the Otero family, the day began like any other, their home a sanctuary of warmth. Unbeknownst to them, a predator stalked their quiet suburban street. Dennis Rader had chosen them as his first victims, marking the start of his reign of terror. The eerie silence of the house was shattered by the sound of breaking glass. Inside, 4 members of the Otero family, Joseph Otero Sr., 38, Julia Maria Julie Otero, 33, Joseph Joey Otero II, 9, and Josephine Josie Otero, 11, went about their morning unaware of the danger. The family's 3 older children had already left for school. Rader cut the phone lines and entered the Otero residence when Joey opened the back door for the family dog. Rader told the Otero family that he was a wanted man in California before he ordered them to lie on the living room floor at gunpoint. Then he led the family into a bedroom and bound them with rope he had prepared. The wrists and feet of Joseph and Julie were restrained. Joseph's head was covered by a plastic bag, which Rader then secured with ropes. Rader attempted to strangle Julie, later recalling, "Mrs. Otero woke back up. She was pretty upset with what was going on and she asked me to save her son, so I took the bag off. She screamed, 'You killed my boy! You killed my boy!' After the initial realization and shock, she communicated, 'God have mercy on your soul,' before I put her down permanently." Rader strangled Julie to death with rope. With both parents dead, Rader then placed another plastic bag, followed by 2 t-shirts and an additional bag, over Joey's head, watching as he thrashed and suffocated. Afterward, Rader led Josie down into the basement, where he hanged her with a noose from a pipe. He murdered them, fueling his dark desires. The Otero family's tragic end was a result of Rader's methodical madness, a chilling reminder of the monster who lived among us. News of the Otero family murders spread through Wichita like wildfire. The idyllic image of their community was shattered. The police investigation was hampered by the lack of obvious motives or suspects. The city held its breath, united in grief and fear. Fear became a constant companion for the citizens of Wichita. As fear gripped Wichita after the Otero family murders, a chilling new chapter in the BTK saga was about to unfold. On March 19, 1974, a plain white envelope arrived at the Wichita Eagle newspaper. The letter, penned in a disjointed hand, was a macabre confession detailing the Otero murders with chilling detachment. The author, identifying as BTK, claimed responsibility, reveling in the gruesome details. He described the Otero's final moments with chilling precision. The letter was a blend of boastful confessions and cryptic hints at future crimes. It was as if the killer saw himself as an artist, his victims mere canvases. The BTK letters became a macabre hallmark of the killer's modus operandi. They were his twisted calling card, ensuring Wichita would never forget the terror he unleashed. The BTK letters were more than just confessions. They were taunts, carefully crafted to toy with the authorities and keep the city of Wichita on edge. The killer reveled in the fear he instilled, using his letters to manipulate and misdirect the investigation. He became a phantom, a whisper in the wind, always present yet impossible to grasp. One of the most disturbing aspects was the killer's fascination with law enforcement. He viewed the police as unwitting participants in his twisted game, daring them to catch him. Each letter was a calculated move, a step in his deadly dance with the law. The BTK investigation consumed countless man-hours and resources as the Wichita police tried to untangle the web the killer had spun. The letters with their cryptic messages became both a vital source of information and a frustrating reminder of their inability to catch him. Each communication brought them closer to the killer's psyche, but also highlighted their inability to penetrate his facade. Forensic experts analyzed every word, hoping to unearth some clue that would lead them to the killer's identity. The city of Wichita, held captive by fear, became both a participant and a pawn in the BTK Killer's twisted game. Despite their best efforts, the police were no closer to catching the BTK Killer. The relentless pursuit continued, with every lead scrutinized and every clue examined. The brutal murder of the Otero family left an indelible scar on Wichita. On April 4, 1974, Catherine Doreen Bright, 21, became the next victim in BTK's reign of terror. Rader broke into her Wichita home in broad daylight through her screen door, but was taken aback to discover her 19-year-old brother, Kevin Bright, was also present. He transported Catherine to another bedroom and tied her down after forcing Kevin, who was being held at gunpoint, to restrain his sister with a rope Rader had provided. Rader attempted to strangle Catherine before stabbing her 3 times in the back and lower abdomen with a knife when she struggled too much. Kevin was also strangled and shot in the head, but he survived by feigning death and later managed to escape. His testimony provided a glimpse into the killer's appearance. The sketches failed to produce credible leads. The murder of Catherine Bright sent a chilling message through Wichita. The killer's willingness to strike in broad daylight amplified the city's fear. The shadow of BTK loomed large over Wichita. As 1974 drew to a close, Wichita found itself caught in the grip of a fear that refused to abate. The BTK Killer had become a malevolent force, an invisible specter haunting their every waking moment. On March 17, 1977, that fear was reignited with terrifying force. Shirley Ruth Relford, a 25-year-old mother of 3, became BTK's next victim. The modus operandi was chillingly familiar: the binding, the torture, the meticulous staging of the crime scene. Rader pursued Relford and located her by following her 5-year-old son to her home. He entered their residence, produced a handgun from his jacket, and frightened the family. After tying up her 3 children and locking them in the bathroom, Rader took Relford to the rear bedroom and strangled her with a rope after placing a plastic bag over her head. Rader's next victim was 25-year-old Wichita resident Nancy Jo Fox. He marked her as a potential victim and began stalking her. On December 8, 1977, Rader knocked at her door. When nobody answered, he cut the phone lines before breaking in to wait for Fox in her kitchen. Her murder would be described by Rader as what I call a perfect hit. Although she gave me a lot of verbal static, she cooperated, and she didn't fight me. I had complete control of her. That's why it was one of the more enjoyable kills, as I call them. Rader killed Fox by strangling her with his belt on her bed. The police, despite their tireless efforts, seemed no closer to unmasking him. On February 10, 1978, BTK resurfaced with a chilling communication. He sent a letter to Kaka TV along with a haunting self-portrait. The portrait depicted a man with a blank, emotionless face. It was a chilling representation of the darkness within BTK. The letter was filled with his usual boasts and taunts. He referred to himself as the BTK Strangler. The self-portrait and letter were stark reminders of his presence. The game of cat and mouse was far from over. After the death of Nancy Jo Fox, the killing stopped. The dread that accompanied each BTK letter seemed to dissipate, replaced by a cautious sense of relief. It was as if the city itself had been holding its breath and could finally exhale. The years that followed were a time of uneasy peace for Wichita. The BTK investigation gradually slowed to a crawl, the trail growing colder. Leads fizzled out, leaving investigators with more questions than answers. The killer seemed to have vanished into thin air, his shadow receding from the city's consciousness. Life went on as it always does. The city continued to grow and evolve, new buildings rising, new businesses opening, new memories being made. But the memory of BTK lingered, a ghost story whispered from one generation to the next. The city, though healing, would never forget the terror that once gripped it. Unbeknownst to Wichita, the monster haunting their nightmares lived a chillingly ordinary life nearby. Dennis Rader, the BTK Killer, hid his dark secret beneath a facade of normalcy. His wife, Paula, saw him as a loving husband and father. His children grew up in a seemingly normal household. He was active in his church and a Boy Scout leader. As a compliance officer, he enforced codes, a chilling irony. Rader's dual life was a testament to his cunning and ability to compartmentalize his dark side. After years of silence, Rader's killings started again. On May 5, 1985, Maureen Hedge, 53, was found on East 53rd Street North in Wichita, between North Webb Road and North Greenwich Road. Rader had killed her on April 27th and took her body to Christ Lutheran Church, where he was the president of the church council. There, he photographed her body in various suggestive positions. Rader had previously stored black plastic sheets and other materials at the church in preparation for the murder, and then later dumped the body in a remote ditch. On September 16, 1986, Rader strangled Vicki Lynn Wegerle, 28, to death with a nylon stocking at her house in Wichita. He entered the residence by pretending to be a telephone repairman. His final victim, Dolores Erline D. Davis, 62, was found dead on February 1, 1991, at West 117th Street North and North Meridian Street in Park City. Rader had killed her on January 19th by strangling her. Again, the killings stopped, and by 2004, the investigation of the BTK killer was considered a cold case. However, Rader initiated a series of 11 communications to local media, which led directly to his arrest in February 2005. In March 2004, a letter arrived at the Wichita Eagle, its contents a chilling mix of boasts and taunts. The killer sought to reassert his dominance, reminding Wichita he was still in control. The letter was a treasure trove of clues for the task force, confirming their worst fears. The BTK killer was back. He had grown bolder, sending more and more letters to local media, each one a piece of his twisted puzzle. He relished the media frenzy, the city's terror fueling his ego. But in February 2005, he made a fateful request in a letter to the Wichita Eagle. He asked if a message on a floppy disk could be traced. The police assured him it was untraceable. The trap was set. BTK sent a purple floppy disk to KSAS-TV. Every digital footprint became a breadcrumb trail leading back to him. The digital evidence was irrefutable, sealing his fate. The FBI's digital forensics team worked tirelessly, their analysis of the floppy disk revealing a treasure trove of information. The deleted files told a story the killer had tried to erase. They discovered a deleted message that sent chills down their spines. It contained the name Dennis and a detail about Christ Lutheran Church. The church had a council president named Dennis Rader. The name, combined with other evidence, painted a clear picture. Dennis Rader, the unassuming compliance officer, was the monster they had been hunting. The police moved quickly to apprehend their suspect. On February 25, 2005, Dennis Rader was arrested during a routine traffic stop near his home in Park City shortly after noon. An officer asked, "Mr. Rader, do you know why you're going downtown?" Rader replied, "Oh, I have suspicions why." The man who had terrorized Wichita for decades was finally in custody. The news of his capture spread like wildfire, a collective sigh of relief sweeping over the city. The city of Wichita could finally begin to heal. The news of Dennis Rader's arrest sent shockwaves through Wichita and beyond. The man who had evaded capture for over 3 decades was now a flesh-and-blood prisoner. On June 27, 2005, Dennis Rader stood before a packed courtroom in Wichita, Kansas. He pled guilty to 10 counts of first-degree murder, a chilling admission that sent a shudder through the courtroom. The families of his victims looked on, their faces etched with grief and anger. Rader's decision to plead guilty felt like a final act of control. He showed no remorse, his face a blank mask revealing nothing of the darkness within. The courtroom was left in stunned silence as Rader was led away in handcuffs. The sentencing phase of Rader's trial provided a chilling glimpse into the mind of a monster. Prosecutors detailed Rader's crimes, the brutality and calculated cruelty. They painted a portrait of a man consumed by twisted fantasies. Rader, addressing the court, reveled in the details of his crimes. He spoke in a monotone, devoid of emotion, describing his perverse satisfaction. The courtroom was his stage, his victims mere props. He referred to his victims by nicknames, not by name. His lack of remorse was a testament to his depravity. No explanation could adequately explain his evil. Dennis Rader was, simply put, a monster. On August 19, 2005, after weeks of gut-wrenching testimony, Judge Gregory Waller sentenced Dennis Rader to 10 consecutive life sentences without parole, the harshest possible sentence under Kansas law. The families of Rader's victims delivered powerful victim impact statements. Their words a testament to love and resilience. The monster had been unmasked, his reign of terror ended. The city of Wichita could finally breathe a collective sigh of relief. As Dennis Rader was led away in shackles, his face expressionless, the scars he left would never truly heal. Wichita, forever marked by BTK, would continue to grapple with his legacy. Justice had been served, but the memories would linger. The capture and conviction of Dennis Rader brought a sense of closure to Wichita, a city that had lived for decades under the shadow of his crimes. The boogeyman had been unmasked, revealed to be a neighbor, a churchgoer, a father. The relief was tinged with a haunting realization. The scars he inflicted ran deep. The revelation of Rader's double life sent shockwaves through Wichita. Trust was shattered, replaced by a lingering suspicion. Families of Rader's victims faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives. Their stories served as a poignant reminder of the devastating ripple effects of violent crime. Yet amidst the pain, Wichita began to heal, finding strength in unity and resilience. The legacy of Dennis Rader's crimes extends far beyond Wichita. His case is a chilling reminder of the dark side of human nature. The meticulous nature of his crimes amplified the horror, leaving an indelible mark. The BTK case profoundly impacted criminal justice, highlighting the importance of cold case work. DNA evidence played a pivotal role in his capture, showcasing forensic science's power. The story of BTK continues to fascinate and horrify, a testament to the enduring impact of the case. The victims and their families are forever remembered, their loss a somber part of this dark history. Even with Rader behind bars, his case generates more questions than answers. The depravity of his crimes and his ability to compartmentalize his dark side baffle criminologists and psychologists. One enduring mystery is the motive. Rader offered various explanations, but none felt satisfactory. His meticulously planned crimes seemed driven by something deeper. Another question is the extent of Rader's crimes. He confessed to 10 murders, but rumors persist of other victims. The possibility of more victims haunts families of the disappeared. Can someone like Dennis Rader ever truly be understood? Was he born evil or a product of his environment? The answers remain elusive, a chilling reminder of unsolved mysteries. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime content.